open up Facebook, and we're gonna go live.
Okay, hold on.
Y'all live. Well, live video starting. Start. All right, you're up.
Cat share on your page.
Or me?
Yeah, all of us. You all do it.
On Instagram. We on Facebook, so y'all can get it done. Shit. Y'all ready?
Yeah, it's live.
Hey, what's going on? It's Coach Chain with Crunch Time Survivors, baby. And today, man, we got one of the top legendary athletes to ever play in this county, city, state. My man, the legend, never been a myth. KJ Harris. And y'all know I got my man here, my DC. Man, let the world know who you are, baby.
Man, I'm Cat Daddy Dollars, man, and we here with the Super Bowl champ. I'm talking about the man, the myth. Ain't no legend. He's a living legend because he here.
He here, baby.
And we gonna definitely get into it.
Gonna get into it. It's gonna be epic today. Hey, yo. So, KJ, man, introduce yourself to all the Crunch Time Survivors, baby.
Like I said, hey, KJ Harris, born and raised right here in Tampa, Florida. This is my city, man. Never wanted to leave, never going nowhere.
You better know it.
You know it.
So let's get right into it. Hey, KJ, in your early years, man, I'm talking about youth and high school. You were a four-sport athlete. Mm-hmm. What sports did you play, and what was your top two favorite?
All right, growing up, starting in Little League, but once you got to high school, I did everything. I played football, baseball, basketball, ran track. And of course, if I had to pick my favorite two, it's going to be football and basketball. And definitely basketball is still to this day my first love.
So basketball is your first love?
Yeah, basketball, if I was me, this is me.
Okay.
If I was 6'4", 6'5",
okay,
I would have tried to enter the NBA draft out of high school.
So you was just like that.
It's just something about basketball, man. I just have more of a passion for. I had the body to play basketball. I had the speed to run track.
Okay.
I had the talent to play baseball.
Right.
My love. You had to ask me my true love. My true love is basketball.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So when you play basketball, it's a lot of different positions. It's a lot of different things you do in basketball. What was your greatest attribute?
I'm Zion before Zion.
Oh, yeah? Now I watch you play. Now that's nowhere near not far from the truth. Now, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, he was a talented person, a real talented athlete.
Yeah.
Like he was a scary athlete because of his size and what he can do with his weight. Mm-hmm. And speaking of weight, tell the people why you didn't play Little League football and how has it changed today for the kids that didn't play for your reason.
Yeah, growing up, so just my age, and you had a weight limit. So
right.
I was only able to play Little League football for 2 years. I played 1 year for the North Tampa Rams, so the first time I ever played, and the second time I played was in Power League with the Tampa Bay Bandits. We was over there at Fairhoops Park. They the Rattlers now.
Yep, the Rattlers. Yeah, sure is.
And that was it. After that, I couldn't play until I got to school.
How much did you weigh?
I don't remember. I just know I couldn't make weight. I'm over there I get on every week on the scale in my draws. Because I had to strip.
You had to strip.
And I had to take a deep and blow it out and let the needle move. And I'm talking about, man.
So not only were you a four sport player,
mm-hmm.
a 5-star athlete, mm-hmm. you was a stripper as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You put it out there, yeah. I stripped every Saturday. Wow.
Every Saturday. Had the people at the scale. Hey, is this boy 12?
And I'm talking about you had, and it was like the other teams. They didn't watch the scale for nobody else, but when I got on the scale, all the coaches wanted nah, it's touching, and then I had to slide a piece of paper under to make sure it wasn't touching.
Wow.
Yeah, man, they was hoping I wasn't, was overweight.
So with that, like growing up, what was your motivation just to say? Cause me, sometimes when you can't play, you ain't got the interest no more. Cause I can't play. What made you still want to go so hard?
Yeah.
Well, the thing was because I was an athlete, so I mean, I always, even when I did play Little League, you know, like I said, I always played all the other sports. So it's like I had something to fall back on if I couldn't play. You
But
know,
a lot of heavy kids back then did.
Yeah.
Like,
It was a lot.
I played 1 year for the Riverview Terrace Giants. Tried to play for the Eagles. I was always too heavy, still too heavy. I wouldn't make weight today. But once I got to high school, once I got to junior high, we had a chance to play.
Right, and that was it. That was the biggest thing.
What position did you play in football?
So the first time I played, man, I never forget, man, 4th grade, I played for the North Tampa Rams. And I never forget my godbrother at the time, BJ Thomas, BJ.
I remember BJ the pitcher.
Yeah, and then he played quarterback too. So
Yep.
he was left-handed. So, you know, he really was the one who got me into sports started.
Okay.
My mom had triplets that year. So I had triplet sisters, and I'm the oldest of 5, and I'm the only boy. So it's a lot of female stuff going around in the house. And I just man, I got to do something to get out of the house. And my godbrother at the time, man, he started introducing me to sports.
Okay. Oh, that was
he was
big.
like, man, you know, come play. And I was like, my mom, you know, so when I signed up for the Rams, I used to go to the Boys and Girls Club for the summer anyway. So that was definitely opportunity to get a chance to get out of the house from all them girls. So I went and played for the Rams, and I never forget, man, the day they was asking, you know, what number kids wanted and what position you wanted to play. And I was like, I want to play running back, and I want number 33. And that coach looked at me, Coach Tim.
I remember Coach Tim
looked at me and said, man, you ain't getting playing no running back. Here, get this 75. And gave me number 75. Gave me number 75. And they put me on the D-line, offensive line. You know, I was a nose tackle on defense, and I was a guard on the offensive line. And I'll never forget, man, we played against the Tampa Eagles. Tampa Eagles, and Darius Clark broke a run. I'm a D lineman.
Yeah.
And I came around and walked Darius Clark down, passing Kelwood and Gainey, jawed them boy. I know they was the safeties and all that. I flew past all of them and walked down Darius Clark and tackled him from behind.
Really?
I think that's the first time when they was like, man, this boy can move. You know, still ain't let me play running back after that though.
Yeah.
You know, but it was just funny, like, you know, as a D lineman, I'm passing my safeties and all that cornerbacks to go catch a guy who done broke.
You had a real motor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And what? Because you said I wanted to be number 33.
Yeah.
What made you want to be 33?
Oh man, Roger Craig.
Okay.
I was watching, you know, I was starting to get into football at that time, and you know, there's a running back number, you know, 33, 34, you know, those are running back numbers back then. So, you know, and that was the reason why.
Thurman Thomas.
Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
Thurman Thomas was 34, yeah.
So, and you said you grew up in what area in Tampa?
Right here in Seminole Heights, right around the corner.
Okay.
Right here. I was born and raised off of Henry,
Okay.
off of 34th and Henry.
East Tampa.
Yeah, right. Well, it's right down the Woodland Terrace.
Yeah.
Yeah, right down. And then my grandma, we moved to on the other side of the railroad tracks, right here on Jean and 22nd.
Okay.
Back in like 86, something like that. And so yeah, but I've always been right here in this neighborhood.
So, like, man, you know, coming up actually in the city, and like it's crazy, like, cause it was so many athletes back when we came up playing at North Seminole baseball. That's when me and you first met.
Yep.
And you can hit the ball a country mile, and like, how did you develop the love for baseball?
I'm not gonna say I really developed a love for baseball at that time. Like I said, it was more of when one sport was over with, I gotta find something else to get into because I didn't want to be home. You know, it was, you know, and back then, you know, it's different from how it is today. You know, back then, you know, the neighborhood, you know, everybody meets up on Saturday. You couldn't wait to get up on Saturday morning. You be going all day.
Yeah.
You be out the house by 8 o'clock and coming home at 8 o'clock at night, you know, all day, you know, playing right here 22nd, right here in the big field area, right here Slot.
Yeah.
You know, that was our, you know, I say our home field for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We had a basketball court, we had a football field, we had a baseball field. And we would go down there and we would play all three of those sports sometime in the same day. We'll play football, everybody break, get some water, go play basketball, you know, then bring them out the broomsticks, the baseball and the tennis ball and play fumble. You know, things like that. You know, and Coach Sip, Joe Sip,
Yep.
had the house right there, right on the
Right on Sly.
Yeah,
right on
the
Sly where we all went to the trampoline. George Sip with the house, go to the trampoline.
You go use the bathroom, get your water, you know, and all that stuff, man. And that was it. You know, we go there and reload up and go back out and play some more sports, man. And, you know, his mom still got that same in the house today. So, you know, like I said, that was our playground. That big area was our playground. Now that they didn't put that big field down there.
Field down
man,
there.
Can you imagine we would have had that back in the day?
Come on, man. Thanks to Titus O'Neil.
I know, right?
And the great things he's doing in the community.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, that was our big playground, man. The whole time we was growing up.
Man, listen, I can remember like playing Little League in days that you would pitch. And man, and it was some people that used to look at this kid like you up the bat, and you see this 12-year-old adult, a 13-year-old adult. You like, man, I hope this man don't hit me with this ball, man.
It was that bad?
Now listen,
Man, it's crazy though, because I hear, it's funny. I really don't. I never saw myself the way everybody else see me. So everybody else is like, man, he's so big, he's so big. I never saw myself that way. Everybody saw it. It takes for other people to tell me how good I was or how they remember, which is some, I appreciate, because I was always a fan of everybody else.
Right.
So like now that I'm older and stuff, like, to hear people tell the stories about me growing up is when I had to sit back and I had to, just reflect on it all and be like, because I never saw myself that way. I never thought about myself the way everybody else see me. I never was like that. I never was like that.
You was just being a kid.
I was just, man. And still is today, man. I'm just a big kid, man. I'm a big kid. Sit at home now all day, play PlayStation and things like that. Watch all my sports.
Wow.
Yeah, man. That's
Enjoy
it.
yourself.
So yeah, that's all I am, man. Just a big kid. But it does, sometimes it just, to reflect. It's nice to hear the story of how everybody else saw me and how what they saw, because I never saw myself that way.
Right.
wow.
You know what I mean?
So moving right along. Tampa Bay Tech, stand up. But we have a story prior to him arriving on campus at Tech, leaving the youth sports, transitioning into high school. It was out of Tampa Catholic and Tech.
No.
What was it? Tell me.
It's a story.
Tell me the story.
The ones who know. So it goes back. I left, like I said, started right here at Foster Elementary.
Okay.
Left Foster, went to Van Buren. I went to Sly Middle School. But it started my first time. The first time I really I saw myself. Let me tell you, when I made it a goal with myself that I wanted to play professional sports, was the last year of Foster, 6th grade. And that early.
Now I'm asking you this. I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
man.
you good.
But what sport? You just professional sports in
What
general?
I already told you my first love was.
Basketball.
Man, last 2 weeks of school, it's like, the 6th graders didn't really have, they had field days.
Yeah.
And they had like a basketball game with students versus the faculty. And to this day, man, the first person who made me feel like I was gonna be a professional athlete is Coach Marani. I think she works downtown for the school board now, from what I remember. She was my PE coach at Foster. And I remember we was playing basketball, and we had almost a 6-footer in the 7th grade, Antoine Broxy.
I remember Q-Bean.
Q-Bean.
Q-Bean, my man. I got something to tell you about that, too. And I'm going to call
Everybody do,
Q-Bean,
yeah.
man.
Everybody
Q-Bean mama thought I was the worst person in the world at one point in time, man.
You're not alone. You're not alone, man.
I don't want you hanging around that Johnson.
Man, she didn't want him hanging around nobody. It
Oh,
wasn't just you.
man.
It was me. I don't care if the Pope himself came. He couldn't hang around with the Pope.
Man.
His mom was not letting him around nobody, so don't feel bad.
Okay.
Okay.
And, but I'm going to tell you a good story about that, too, man. It's so funny because, but yeah, so Q-Bean, we was all in 6th grade together, so he was taller than everybody else, man. And I don't think Q-Bean at that time could even touch the rim. And I just remember grabbing a volleyball, and I was on the basketball court, and I remember just looked at the court. I said, man, if Spud Well could dunk, I know I can dunk. And I never tried it in my life. So the first time I just went and I grabbed the rim, and I was able to grab it. So I like, let me grab this volleyball, because you can palm it at that time.
Yeah.
And I dunked that volleyball, man, and my PE coach was like, do it again. And I did it. And she like, oh my God. She like, and I remember she said, you gonna play in the NBA one day. And she was just joking. I don't know, what she was, but Coach Moronic, man, was the first time who gave me inspiration that I could play a professional sport. And I never forget, man. And that day, I never forget, like I said, I ran home after school, had them little mini basketballs. I had one in the house, got that basketball, and I came back up to the court, and I probably stayed there till the sun went down, man. I just kept dunking, kept dunking. And that was the last week of school. So that summertime came. By the time summertime was over with and I got to Van Buren, I was dunking with 2 hands, man.
So listen to what he's saying now, right? I'll tell all my heavy kids that started out on the defense and offensive line.
Yes, sir.
You too can transform into an athlete. Or you can just be a big athlete. But don't give up hope. So now you leaving Little League sports, right? Why? You had a brief stay at Tampa Catholic, then you went to Tech.
Well,
What happened with that?
So I left. Like I said, went to Sly. Remember back then, elementary was kindergarten through 6.
Yeah,
Then we
right.
had 7th grade
grade
centers.
centers.
So which I was at Sly, and then we left Sly, and then we had the junior highs, which is 8th and 9th
8th and 9th grade.
And selective high schools had 9th through 12th. Like Tech, the private schools and some of those areas like that, because you had to have like a trade or something. Like
Yeah.
Hillsborough had, I think, had ninth grade because they had ROTC or something like that. So you didn't have, a lot of high schools didn't have ninth grade.
Yeah.
So at that time, I went to Van Buren, and at that time, it's somebody at every stage, man, to pull me along the way. So I got introduced to Al and Bruce, Al Rosen, Coach Rosen, at Van Buren. He was our football coach at the time. Coach Hildenberg was our basketball coach, and Coach Rosen. Remember, he had his weight trainer, bodybuilder.
Right.
Him and his brother
Yeah.
Al and Bruce Rosen. They had
Yeah, I
a
remember.
body shop.
Yeah.
Off of Dale Mabry and Waters behind the gun range. So they trained a lot of professional wrestlers
Okay.
at that time. So like, man, The Rock, his dad,
At that
the
time?
Hulk,
Man.
Iron Sheik, all these guys. Like, I remember seeing all these guys
Wow.
back then because he trained them. And Coach Rosen used to let us come to his shop, work out, to clean, the swell of giving us a little extra money, clean the shop for him and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
his he had some girls who was in gymnastics, and we used to go and help set up the convention center downtown for the floors.
Okay.
Okay.
And so he always kept he grabbed me, man, and gravitated me and pulled me with him, and he started showing me the right way. So he started introducing me to a lot of people who he knew at the time.
Right.
He had a lot of the old, but Gary Anderson, all those guys at the
Yeah.
Bucks,
Okay.
James Wilder and all those guys. And at that time, he had a friend he introduced me to, Eric Trevelyan, who was one of our assistant football coaches
Right.
at Van Buren. E.T. Played for the Tampa Bay Bandits, wide receiver, long, tall guy, played receiver. So he was one of our assistant football coaches, and I'm starting to meet all his connects.
Yeah.
E.T. had a good friend. Like, man, I got a buddy named Calvin McGee that coaches over at Tampa Catholic.
Right.
Good fit for you, perfect opportunity for you to go education wise, all that there. But me being in that young man,
How old?
the education, I'm saying 8th and 9th grade.
Yeah.
So you
about
were
about 13.
13, 14 years old.
Okay.
But and that's one of the things where, back then, they always just tell you about your grades, but you don't want to hear that. You're athlete,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
You thinking, I ain't worrying about the grades, man. I can play. As long as I can play, somebody gonna want you. So I had to learn a lot of stuff, raw and uncut at that age too. But Coach E.T. introduced me to Calvin McGee, who was at Tampa Catholic.
Yeah.
Right.
9th grade year. So played football and basketball my 9th grade year. And then right after Christmas break, I transferred to Tampa Catholic.
Wow.
And I went over there with Coach McGee.
Okay.
And Coach McGee at that time, and this is I'm just a raw athlete still, not understanding the game, not understanding, defense front. I'm just a raw athlete. And Coach McGee at that time, retired from the NFL, played 5 years with the Bucks, tight end, went to Southern University. That was my next step. Took me to Tampa Catholic. It's when I started understanding the game of football.
Okay.
How to understand defense, bare fronts, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
He changed, and believe it or not, man, if y'all go back, if we can find some old film of Van Buren, you never see me run the ball in the middle of the field. I got the ball and bounced everything outside.
You did.
Right.
I bounced everything outside. Between the tackles, I don't remember one time hitting the ball, getting the hole, and hitting it between the tackles. I got my butt to Tampa Catholic, and the first time I got the ball, I got it and bounced it outside. Coach McGee yelled at me, screamed at me. The second time, I did it again. He put two cones. He said, if you run outside these cones, you might well just keep running outside that fence. And he said, boy, you the biggest person on the field, and you up here tiptoeing running out there like you the smallest person on the field. You got the speed. He like, KJ, you can go 80 yards anytime you want to, but I need 4 and 5 yards in that middle. Then let me get to 80 later.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that meant at the time.
Wow.
And
Running
man,
backs, I
just
hope y'all
remember,
listen.
I never forget, man. He put them 2 cones, and it was basically 2 guards, center, guard. He said, if I ran outside them guards,
It was trouble.
he said, just keep running out the fence, don't come back.
Don't come back.
And man, I never forget. So the fact that they knew I was coming at that middle next
Yeah.
play, I said, oh man. And this when I realized my size. I got the ball, ran straight through that middle. I remember closing my eyes, man, and I just put my head down. And I felt it. When I opened my eyes up, I almost hit my face on the goalpost.
It was that fast.
So hit up
That
that.
point forward, I didn't want to sweep.
You didn't
Don't
want
give
to
me no sweep.
Off tackle.
So you wanted whams. You
I
wanted lead.
nothing but power.
Yeah,
I stayed
yeah.
in between the tires. You gave me a sweep. As soon as you tossed it, I caught it. I turned it right back up.
No.
Then he started yelling at me for not running outside.
Yeah, but that's the
Overall
way.
game though.
So
Yeah, but that was just in a week's time. That was in a week.
A
That was
week.
the first day of practicing pads.
Wow.
That I learned how to run between the tackles.
So you transferred your 9th grade year.
My 9th grade
After
year
the
after
season.
Christmas. After
After
Christmas.
Christmas.
So I didn't I
late.
finished out the second half of my
season.
9th grade year in high school at Tampa Catholic.
Okay. So that summer, going into your sophomore year, you transferred to Tech?
Yeah, so what happened was, so like I said, I got a course at Tampa Catholic. You know, I got a scholarship to go over there. At that time, so I was over there. I finished up the. I ran track for them. Went to state in track, won long jump,
Oh, all right.
qualified in the
Won a
100.
long jump.
Yeah, I won long jump all 4 years of high school
In state?
in state.
What was your longest jump?
My senior year, I went 23. My junior year, I went 23:11. That was the furthest I went.
That's 24 feet.
23:11.
Yeah, 23:11.
Yeah.
That's
I
longer
wanna
than a
say-
school bus, man.
Bro, I ain't long school, but
That is about long as a school bus, man.
But I'll tell you the secret about that too, though. So I went to state for the 100 long jump. I don't know if I qualified for the 200 my 9th grade year, but I still went. So now spring ball, football, Tampa Catholic,
Okay.
high school ball. So it's my first time, you know, like I said, this is when all this started with spring ball as far as,
Yeah.
you know, running the ball. So spring game come up, first high school football game. Kind of nervous because I'm a freshman,
Yeah.
kind of nervous, but in my mind, I'm a freshman. But to everybody else's eyes, man, who the senior is out there running the ball? You know, and like I said, coming from, you know, at Tampa Catholic, man, I was replacing Elijah Powell.
Whoa, that's the little big man.
Let me tell you.
That's the little big man. If you know anything
Let
about
me
Tampa
tell you,
history,
boy, look.
you had big shoes to fill, man.
Man, not only that, but I was a fan, boy. And let me tell you, I watched that dude highlight tape that Coach McGee and them had. I watched that tape at least a dozen times.
Yeah.
That dude, man,
Cold.
cold. So going into my first high school game, Jamboree, playing against Gibbs High School and St. Pete against Sean King. And Sean King is going into his senior year.
Quarterback.
Quarterback.
Play for the
But
Bucks.
let me show you how everything folds. Everything comes back into loop to get to here.
Oh, okay.
So, playing against Sean King, in the Jamboree, and I never forget we got off the bus, man. And everybody know about Gibbs, you know that's it's urban school.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, Tampa Catholic, of course, you know, we get off the bus, you know, a bunch of little white kids and, you know, stuff like that, and playing against, you know, public school,
Yeah.
Gibbs. You know, and I hear all this talk about this quarterback dude, Sean King, and everybody, you know, how he can go anywhere in the country. And I never forget, man, got off the bus, first time I ever saw something like this, you know, and for Jamboree, I saw all these college scouts, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, so that's when it's like, now it's starting to hit me like, man, you know, high school ball is different.
Yeah.
You know, and played against Sean King, man, and we played. It's my first high school game. I think I had like 14 carries, so like, you know, like 160, 170, 2 touchdowns, and almost won the game. And at that game, Tulane was there. You know, Sean ended up signing and going to Tulane.
Yeah.
And at that time, his quarterback coach at Tulane was Rich Rodriguez.
Okay.
Who ended
Okay.
up being the head coach at West Virginia. But
Okay, we'll get to that.
we'll circle all back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, yeah, this high school thing gonna be pretty easy. Because I'm like, man, if I just did this against them in a Jamboree, if it would have been a whole game,
Oh man,
I would have broken out a record. You know,
Yeah.
You know, I had almost 200 yards on 14 carries and two touchdowns.
And I think Sean Smith.
Sean King.
Sean
Smith had the record of 5.
Had the record.
And
then
that's when I
Reggie
started-
McDaniel broke
Yeah.
it broke it
From
out here from Plant.
Yeah.
But Sean Smith was another Tech alumni.
Yep.
Tech had some bikes now. Y'all had some
man.
bikes.
So, you know, and then like I said, so at that time, I was on because I was coming in to replace the class that was going out.
Right.
Got like Willie Terrell, like I said, Elijah Powell. Who's the quarterback at the time? I forgot. Andre something. But anyway, it was like a group that was going out.
Right.
Coach McGee and them told me, and Coach Enriquez told me they were trying to get some other guys to come, like Kenny Kelly,
Okay.
Darryl
Darryl.
Jackson,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that. So that summer came, I was still there. I played summer basketball with Coach Zaga. Kenny was playing basketball with us at that time, but Darryl wasn't there yet. And Kenny actually was talking about going to Plant City, even though he was
Yeah, he was a Plant City native.
Yeah, but he was still playing. We still played on that summer team basketball wise at TC. But then Kenny I felt like Kenny was just playing, but he was gonna go to Plant City.
Right.
Darryl wasn't even thinking about football, so I wasn't even worrying about him coming to play football. I heard he was trying to come to play basketball.
Yeah.
And then I heard Dad was gonna go to Gaither because his brother didn't
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
there.
So
So
that's what Joe done with. God bless the
summertime
dead,
came,
Joe Jackson.
yeah, man. And summertime came, and I was like, man, I ain't coming back because these guys ain't coming. I ain't want to be the only one there.
Yeah.
So I withdrew. Well, I withdrew. These guys come in.
Wow.
So
Should've
now, of course, I
stayed
can't,
still.
yeah. I could if I would just been a little bit more patient. So at this time now, school started back up. And the first week of school, I wasn't in school because I didn't know what house I was
registered
going to.
nowhere.
Yeah, I wasn't registered. So my mom told me, she's like, boy, come Monday, you better find out where you're going because you're not missing the whole week of school. And my neighbor across the street, man, Don, his fraternity brother with Coach Johnson.
Coach Johnson.
You know what I mean? And I played Riverfront League with Coach Johnson when I was in the 8th grade.
The legendary Coach Johnson.
Yeah,
Say that.
And so absolutely. And prior to that, me going to Van Buren and all that, I played summer league at the Riverfront League at Tech. And Coach Johnson had the Riverfront League.
Okay.
And Don my neighbor across the street used to take me to go play basketball with Coach Johnson as an 8th grader.
Wow.
And you were playing against
Charlie Bradley, all the
they-
Damon Smith, all them boys.
Yeah.
They was at Tech at that
They was
time.
at
I
Tech,
was in
yeah.
8th grade. And I was playing on his team with him, man, and doing all that. Coach Johnson was like, man, you coming to Tech. And that was the summer of me in the 8th grade.
Wow.
You know, so I wasn't even in high school yet.
wow.
So,
So,
all right.
yeah.
While at Tech, you were one of the top running backs in the county, let alone the state. How many rushing yards did you have throughout your high school career?
You know what? I don't know.
Wow.
A lot of that stuff, man, the stat wise, I got newspaper clippings that showing me where I was ranking and all that kind of stuff. But believe it or not, I was like top in the state for kickoff return more than I was.
Yeah, you was.
Man.
Trust me, I know.
On purpose, you know. Yeah,
People
so
don't.
I could have broke the state record in kickoff returns, man. But I had 6 of them called back.
Yeah, you did.
Shit.
You had one call back against us.
To win the game.
To win the game. Yeah, look. Man, that night, boy, that was a crazy night in 1996.
And I, look, the same way you say you remember the
Man.
kicking name, I remember the person who got the penalty, Jason Noble.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
He's a
So
twin.
when you
It
was
was a
doing
great
that,
game.
you was going from kickoff return to
running
play
back.
running
Running
back.
back.
It was
play-
a rule, bro. If you kicked the ball to me, it was
was
a
over.
wrap.
It was
I
over.
prayed that you kicked it to me. People started kicking it away from me, man. Like,
When we tried to,
Trust
that
me.
night,
Trust me.
they don't like to talk about this game because they say
bro,
we cheated.
bro.
But in 96, in
2
96.
years in a row, man. It was some epic in Chamberlain.
Hey, look,
Man.
96.
But I had the perfect payback my
They did.
senior year,
They
man.
did. He don't want to talk about that kick. You say you got.
I ran back the kickoff to win the game.
Yeah.
And we got a penalty. The dude hit somebody in the back 30 yards away from the play.
Yeah.
30 yards
You
away
ain't
from
got
the play.
you just celebrating. It's already over. He
He wouldn't hit somebody 30 yards away
Yeah.
from the play.
30 yards away from the play.
Y'all was
But the
happy.
first
They called
time
it back.
at Chamberlain,
Yeah.
we in a shootout. Him and Tony Nelson. I'm talking about they both going at it. They the top 2 running backs in the county.
No, I had that highlight. I got that highlight.
And he had a good game. You know what I'm saying? He was toting it. And man, it got down. I think Booker ran a quarterback boot. I take a Booker right at the like
all we had to
5
do was
yard
run the
line.
clock out.
That's all they had to do. Did we turn the ball over on downs?
Yes.
They get the ball back.
We kneel in every play.
And Nagel was y'all coach.
Yep.
He kneeled on 4th down
Fourth down to stop the clock.
to stop the clock. I kick a 48-yard field goal.
And all we would have had to do was just punt the ball.
That's it.
We would just punt the ball
What would
because
you
he.
kneel?
I didn't.
He didn't. The
I didn't
quarterback
do it.
told
My
Booker to do
quarterback
it.
I coach told Booker to kneel.
And people had done left the stadium. And the game was over.
It gave the ball, but they kicked.
They gave the ball back.
He made a 48-yarder, bro. I'm talking about like
At that time, you didn't have kickers like that. That's real.
Ian Dyer. I still remember his name.
And then it's funny because I was our junior year. Our senior year, we come back, we played them at our field,
Yeah.
and it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I ran the kickoff return back to win. First of all, it was they had one goal. They was not gonna let me get off for nothing.
Nah, we wasn't.
That was they whole plan was look.
wasn't.
If they beat us, they ain't gonna beat us because of KJ.
That was one of my best games.
It was one of the best games, but look, that's when I realized I scored in that game. I never forget it. But I scored in that game on a fluke play too. Like
Sure did.
It was a pass play, and I caught in Booker. I turned around, the ball wasn't out of me. It was it wasn't even a play designed for me.
Yeah.
But I turned around. I think he just threw the ball out desperation because he didn't want to get the sack, and it came to me like on a little screenplay.
Yeah.
And I caught it and went like 70 yards on the touchdown, man. And that's when the game got interesting.
That was
then
our
I
thing.
got off
Yeah.
and I started doing it. Like I said, then they went up again. And I was like, they ain't gonna kick this ball to me. They ain't gonna kick it to me.
Man, we kicked it to him.
They kicked it to me, and the whole time the
I
ball
was
in the
so
air, I was
mad.
like, oh, they done effed up. I'm like, oh, and the ball was so slow. I never forget coming there. I'm like, man, they done effed up.
Zero and the addition. I think that's his name. Yeah, like, man, that's crazy.
Oh, you
I couldn't believe they kicked it to me because I knew. I said he kicked it to him, run this back, but I said, man, they ain't finna kick this ball to me. And I think he tried to kick it out of bounds, kick it away, but he kicked it to me.
Man, people feared this guy so much. I recall hearing a story while you were in high school, prior to playing a playoff game. Was it a playoff game or a game to get in the playoffs where you received death threats? Tell us about that.
No, at that time, man, my mom was in a abusive relationship at the time.
Right.
Wow.
And the guy, he had a lot of conflict in between me and my family. So at this time, my mom decided to leave the guy alone, and it was actually a homecoming game against Robinson. And my mom came to the game, and I was so excited she was at the game, after leaving that relationship. And that was another, I was just like, man, I couldn't wait to play. My mom was free from, a situation.
Yeah.
I was excited. Opening kickoff, Robinson kicked it off to me, ran it back.
Wrong thing to do.
They, turned over that game. They turned over the next possession. We got the ball back, first carry. Ran a touchdown, 51 yards. They scored, they kicked it off again to me again, ran it back. So anyway, I'm having the game of my life, homecoming. And at that time, I guess prior to that, the man didn't like the fact that my mom decided to leave him alone.
Yeah.
So while we was at the game, our house was getting burnt down.
Whoa.
Wow.
Didn't know nothing about it. I guess my mom got a phone call or something, a beep. Back then you had the pages. My god sister, it was my godparents next door, right next door to me. Got in contact with my mom, let her know that the house was on fire. So I didn't notice until after the game. And it was one of the games where I kept coming off the field, and my principal at the time, Mr. Otero, I would come off the field, and every time I came off the field, he would just always put his arms around me, standing behind me on the side, like he's never done that before. So I'm like, man, what is up with this? So about a long story, game was over with, and he was like, come on, I got to get you home. So I left straight from the football field in uniform, and he drove me home. And we couldn't even turn down my street, man, because it was so full with fire trucks and everything. And this guy set our house on fire.
Wow.
Set our house on fire, and so that happened. Following week, now we're forced to go stay on my grandmother out on Palm River, and we was playing Lakeland that week. That was Lakeland.
Wow,
week.
the Dreadnoughts.
Yep, Lakeland week, and I just remember coming into class on Friday morning, and my resource officer walked in and was like, we need to talk to you outside real quick, and they came outside and they like, hey, just stay calm. We just got a phone call, a death threat in your life, and it was this guy who was beating on my mom and stuff like that. It was cowardly move by him, just stuff like that. So he called the school and put a death threat on my life.
So how did you focus? Like, how did you play? Like,
I knew
what mindset did that have you in?
It just had me in the mindset of where this guy wasn't going to deter my path.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was always his way of, he can. Any man who wants to threaten to do stuff to women, like, you're a coward. You don't do it to men, you do it to to a female. So in that part, I wasn't worrying about it. At that time, I had so much support, man, in the city from everybody. That dude, it was like been like trying to get to the president.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to me, it caused more of a scene in the paper, and from the attention it got with the police and all. That was all it was.
So the paper, the schools, everybody found out about this?
Man, it was all on the news. Man, we had state troop. We had an escort. It was good for us because we had a police escort everywhere we went from that.
Man, well, that's a great thing, man.
we had to wait no traffic or nothing. Yeah, man, we got a police escort, and just like I said, and it carried all into basketball season, man. Guys on the snipers on the roof. It was some.
Wow.
It was some historic.
So y'all had a police
crazy
escort everywhere you
man.
went.
And then they started patting people down to come to games, all kind of stuff, man. And I remember coming out of games, man, or coming, and just looking on the roof in the gym at Tech, and you got guys up there with freaking rifles.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
That was Lakeland week. How did
this
you
happened?
stay focused?
This went on through for a while,
It
bro.
started with Lakeland, but then it went on.
carried over into basketball.
So I'm asking you, like, how did you stay focused, just knowing, like,
I wasn't worried. I honestly, I wasn't. It didn't affect me.
Right.
I was more worried about my mom. My mom could
Right.
never be, she was always panicky, and stuff like that because of the scaredness of. But I don't know. It's just me just being, because she know what happened to her. You know what I mean?
So leading to that, right? You coming into this the end of your season, senior season.
Mm-hmm.
You are a phenomenal baseball player, basketball player, track star. Why did you decide to go pro in baseball? And now hearing your story, I can kind of hear why. Because to lose your home and everything you have due to a cowardly act, I can answer my own question, and I can see why what played a part in it. But why did you choose to go and play baseball?
I mean, like I said, like I told earlier, it was for the money.
It's for the money.
It's for the money. I tell you, I mean, you grow up, like I said, you grew up from time you watch, you seen Dwight, you seen Chef,
Yeah.
you seen the guys, Vance Lovelace, Floyd Yomas, all those guys, Carl Leverett, Wade Boggs, Fred McGriff, you see those, you hear those.
You hear them names, you call them, baby. Champa Bay, baby.
So,
Pipeline.
so it's like, that's when I started realizing, and my baseball coach at the time at Tech, he kept saying, "Hey man, come play baseball, come play, so you get drafted." And I was like, but baseball was my last sport I wanted to play.
Right.
Like I said, it was mostly interesting, even though we grew up, and that's how we met playing Little League, at North Seminole. But it was one of the least sports I liked out of all the other ones.
right?
I really ran track. I wanted to go to Olympics and be a lone jumper before I played professional baseball. So I played a little bit my sophomore year, but I wasn't really too interested in it because basketball season, really at Tech, we were so good in basketball. We would go to playoffs and all that. So we'll start the back end of basketball would overlap into the beginning of baseball.
Okay.
So and I never really and so sophomore I played a little bit. Junior year I played a little bit as well. And my senior year we got in a car accident. And I went through the windshield and
Man.
I tore my hand. I tore the tendons in my hand, and that sat me out. That was the second week of basketball.
Wow.
So I was in a hand cast. See all the
I remember that. I remember that.
windshield, and the announced was dead on the site because a lot of people thought it was right down Bush. It used to be a Wendy's right across the street, and we went through a telephone pole.
Wow.
Me and
Y'all
Kyle,
talking about a crunch time survivor, man. Y'all hear this man's story, man. And this was just in high school. He hadn't even begun his life yet.
Yeah.
And
Man,
it's
come on,
crazy.
man. He's a real crunch time survivor, man.
man. So I had to sit out the rest of basketball season. That hurt me.
Your
I
senior
was
year.
So man, I was so
Man.
hurt. Especially coming back off a year after we had just went. It was a game before the Final Four. We lost to Fort Walton Beach. My junior year in basketball, and so the next year we come back. We excited, kind of wanted, you always want to go further than what you did the next year. So, and we had a squad, man. And like I said, them high school basketball games, man.
Crazy.
Oh man, was
Be shaking in there. They be
Shaking in there, yeah.
Standing
Boy,
room
97.
standing room only, So, I had to sit out the rest of basketball season. When I finally got released and was able to get back into activities, baseball season started.
Right.
Man.
And I was like, well, here's my chance to really play baseball the whole year.
The whole year.
And so, man, coach was kind of excited about it. He was like, man, you finally, so, and I started playing. We had a guy on the team named Brett Groves who played on the Junior Olympic team, won a bronze medal, I think, on the 16 and U team they had. He was a real top recruit for scout, was definitely going to get drafted out of high school. So we had scouts at every game to see Brett, and kind of, because of him, I was able to get seen.
Right.
And to be honest with you, in baseball in high school, I hit no home runs. I batted, 6th, 7th, 8th in the lineup, but a routine ground ball to shortstop. I hit a ball to shortstop, and he had to go 2 steps to the left. I'm beating the throw out.
So
Man,
he was
Oh,
fast.
so, of course. And I get on first, and my coach used to do this. He'd give me two. That means I had 2 pitches to get to third. If I wasn't on third in 2 pitches, then I had to take signs.
Right.
So I'm stealing every time. I don't care if you pitched out. I'm running. I'm running on the first ball you threw. I'm running, regardless of what it was. So I led the team in stolen bases. I led the county in stolen bases.
Man.
And like I said, and for Brett Groves, as the season was ending, and baseball season ends around this time, right while school is out. So, the draft is in June. So, I started getting all these scouts, filling out all these questionnaires, working out for private teams, and I started realizing I'm really gonna get drafted. So, and man, I got drafted during my high school graduation.
Man, that's what's up. After all of what you've been through,
Yep.
your house burned down,
Yep.
the adversity of going through the windshield.
Yep.
Man, God had a purpose and a plan for you,
Being
man.
taken in by my best friend, man, who's a white family. I would, every time I tell my story, I always mention the Akins family. My brother Kyle Akins,
Yeah.
Jonathan Kyle Akins. They took me in after all that stuff I went through in high school.
Right.
They saw I needed to just get away and just be away from everything, man. After my house, I moved out to Palm River with my grandmother,
Right.
Miss Cleveland and things like that. But I just needed a whole new change, man. And the Akins family, they took me in. I'm the blind. We joke about it because we say the blind side should have gave me some
Yeah.
royalties because I was the blind side.
Yeah, you was the blind side before the blind side.
So yeah, man.
You were the strong side.
Yeah, man. So yeah.
Okay.
The
So
Akins family.
you basically learned how to play baseball during your senior season.
Yeah, because I ain't really played since Little League.
Yeah, you haven't played since North Simmons. North Simmons in the house.
Like
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing about Bama Height. North Simmons in the house.
he said, he didn't really know no home runs,
No home runs.
and you
man.
just stole.
I
You
just-
didn't even
I
know
got
what to
on
do. You
beat-
just
man,
said, I'm gonna
I
go.
had a 299 batting average in high school. That's low for high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
High school, they batting the 3 and the
3 and the
400s.
400,
right,
yeah, easy.
Sheffield ain't strike out in high school. Just put it like that.
Man.
Just think about that for a minute. Sheffield did not strike out in high school. It seemed, so just think about things like that, man. So yeah.
Yeah.
But you saw the raw talent. You just saw it, like, man, we get this kid and work with him, he can be something.
They knew it.
So and it was just and to be honest, I could have. I didn't dedicate my full time to baseball.
Wow. So after playing 4 years of baseball,
So I got drafted,
yeah.
Okay.
played that.
Drafted who?
Texas Rangers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And,
after 4 years of baseball, what made you decide, you know what, to walk away from the game? Like, you just walked away from the game.
basically, yeah.
What happened?
I got drafted, played baseball. I was a 10th round pick. We had a first round pick also from Tampa,
Right.
Jason Romano.
I remember Jason Romano.
Man, we had that year too. Let me just take that back. Man, we had Jeff Getz, Kenny Kelly, Sean Figgins, Rima,
Yeah.
Corey, what you call it? From King. What's Corey's last name?
Oh,
Corey Freeman.
Corey Freeman, yeah.
Freeman.
Yeah.
Like I said, me, my boy from my high school, Brett Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was drafted in the 6th round by the Braves, and we had a lot of people from Tampa that year
The
get
guy,
drafted, man.
the kid from King. It was a kid from King.
Sean, that's Sean Freeman. I mean, that's
Yeah,
Corey.
Corey.
Corey, okay,
yeah.
okay.
What you talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sean
Corey.
Figgins and Brandon.
Yeah, okay,
Corey, yeah.
okay.
So, and you had what you call it too? Hillsborough had Jason Romano, Rima, and Jason Randolph.
Jason
Yeah.
Randolph.
Jason
Yep.
Randolph. All of
Jason
them got
Randolph.
all of them got drafted.
Another good friend of mine, fireman.
Yeah. All so like that year we was deep. Tampa was deep, man. We went deep in the draft that year. But Jason Romano was also drafted by the Texas Rangers. He was our first round pick.
okay.
And first year, me and Jason, we stayed together. Second year we did, and then that's when we kind of separated. But it took, I'm gonna tell you, baseball is, you gotta have some patience.
Yeah.
And I went from graduating high school on a Tuesday, getting drafted in the from baseball on a Tuesday, doing high school graduation, and the following Monday, I'm out playing baseball.
Flew out.
No, well, we was in Port Charlotte.
Port Charlotte?
Yeah,
Okay.
down to Port Charlotte. So, graduating on a Tuesday, the following Monday, I'm gone. I'm playing baseball. I'm a pro now. Baseball. One thing I say about baseball before I go back, baseball matured me in my life. 10 years plus, because you go from being a high school student, basically a kid still, to being an adult. Paying
adult
bills.
issues.
Paying bills.
So that you
Wow.
paying, like right when you
I mean, yeah, because you live in an apartment. You got bills. You need rent. Electric bill, water bill. All you go from being a kid to an adult instantly.
In a
You know what I
blink
mean?
of an eye.
Living on your own. No
adjustment.
mom. No parents. You're there.
Yeah.
So my first 2 years of baseball, man, Jason Romano was a I can't say a big brother because the same age. I was older than him, so he got me through it. A lot of depressing times, a lot of you go from playing high school 20 games
yeah.
to you're a pro. This is your job. You're playing every day. Every day. So it's like you lose track of the days because you know what you got to wake up and do the next day, even on Sunday. So that summer, I think we played like 60 games for rookie ball. Then you come back the next year, you do spring training. Spring training started February. You get, invite your prospect. They bring you in early before everybody else to start working with you. So February to September, you playing baseball.
Wow.
So I went from 20 games in high school to 142 games. Strictly baseball. I played every sport all my life.
Man.
So now I'm stuck to playing baseball.
And you said it was depressing?
It's depressing, man, especially in the minor league. It's long
man.
bus rides, just it's a grind.
Getting
It's a
homesick.
grind.
With that,
Homesick.
How was it?
Definitely that, man. I mean 18, 19, years old. You know what I'm saying? It's depressing. You start beginning of the year, you start off good because season just started.
Right.
Bam, your numbers good. Then you start realizing like, man, I'm doing the same thing every day. You start needing numbers start to drop. Then you realize like, man, I'm real low now. Let me get back into it a little bit. Get into it. Hell, even when you do that, you're like, man, it's only 60 games in. We still got a whole another 80 games to play.
So what was your breaking point to say, this is it? Like, this is not for me no more. Like, what was it?
Like I said, so I'm getting to that part, but I just remember, man, like I said, was on a long road trip and watching ESPN in the hotel.
Right.
July, college football preseason previews, showing a different conference every year, which team's going to be the teams to watch this year, which players going to be the ones to have breakout seasons, stuff like that. So the first person I saw them say on TV was University of Miami and the defensive line and Andrew Williams.
A big Drew.
They show Big Drew. Gonna have a breakout year. This guy, up for Outland Trophy Award, whatever, the finalists, and
right.
Gonna be in the award not for one of them. I see Andrew Williams. A couple of days later, they doing the SEC. They show the Gators.
Right.
This passing attack that the Gators gonna have with Darrell Jackson, Richey Caldwell, and I'm saying these are all the guys who I played with. These are all the guys who I know.
And
These guys who we still talk on the phone, and talk to.
Yeah.
Not only with that, Kenny was doing both.
Yeah.
Was playing football and baseball.
Yeah.
So and I'm just thinking to myself like, man, I could be right there with all those guys still playing. Mm-hmm. And if anything, I'd rather play football than baseball. But I only did the baseball thing because of the money.
And this was baseball year.
This is my third year.
Third year.
So, I remember coming to the field, man, and I just wasn't just interested in practicing. Didn't want to take BP. My coach was like, man, what's wrong with you today? And I was like, man, I just don't want to play. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, I just don't want to play. And I just kept saying that. So I had a, kind of like an attitude about it, didn't want to play. And just went on for a couple of days, and finally they called me in the office and was like, man, we don't know what the problem is and things like that. They gave me my release, and I was happy.
Wow.
I was happy because I knew on the back end of my baseball contract, they had to pay for my school. And I knew I was going to school as soon as I got released.
That's big business.
So, and like I said, and I believe like I said, I believe I can turn pro in any sport I wanted to play.
Right.
If I would have dedicated my time to football and baseball, to baseball, I would have made pro in baseball. And what made me realize that was prior to me getting released, I'll never forget, man, I was depressed about something, and we was on the bus, and I was sitting next to Jason Romano, and I thank this man to this day for the words that he said to me. Coming from a guy who was our first round pick, it meant a lot for what he said to me. We was having a conversation, and he told me, he said, man, this is the first time I heard somebody say this about me. Jason Romano said, KJ, you have no ceiling. I didn't know what he meant by that. He's like, dude, most people, he's like me, I'm going to get this good, and I can be this good. He said, but man, you have no ceiling. He's like, you can do whatever you want. He said, man, the stuff you be doing out there, playing around, joking around on the field. I used to jump on the wall, doing BP, running, jump on the fence, taking home runs off the fence, stuff like that. I used to do stuff like that.
Fun.
And being in baseball, running, stealing, jumping over people, and routine plays, like, just doing stuff. He was like, man, you have no ceiling. He was like, man, the talent you have, he's like, man, I could wish to have. He's like, man, so when I heard him tell me that, coming from a guy who was our first round pick,
right,
that meant something to me.
Yeah.
So, I always had that in the back of my mind. But yeah, decided I wanted to play no more, man, and I want to come home and give that school thing a shot.
Wow. So it was no transfer portal. And listening to you talk, I heard the connection with Rich Rod. How did you go about getting the opportunity, and how did the opportunity present itself to play at West Virginia, and
All right.
why West Virginia?
So when it was July, I come home, I wanted to go to school. This time, Coach Colbert was at Tech coaching.
Right.
And I came home and I was like, Coach, man, I want to go to school, man. Can you help me, through the school thing? So he was like, KJ, it's best thing for you to get in school to play right now, because 3 years removed from high school. When no test scores, to take that and when no test I could take that summer.
Right.
Because test score is only good for 24 months.
Yeah.
And so he was like, man, if you want to go to school right now and not sit out another year and wait, you have to go to junior college. So I'm like, okay. And he went to junior college. He went to a school called Dodge City.
Yeah.
Big Drew went there.
Yeah.
Drew went to
Big Drew
Dodge
went to
City.
Dodge
Dodge
City.
City was a farming system.
So look, let me tell you now. That's what I'm saying. So when I saw Big Drew and all them, doing the college preview because he had transferred to Miami.
Yeah.
And it was, that's what they were talking about. They had a transfer from Dodge City, Andrew Williams. So I'm like, that's my boy. I know Drew down the street, around the corner.
Yeah.
And Coach Colbert went to Dodge City as well as a junior college. Oh no, I don't know if he went to Dodge City. I forgot what it was. I know he went to Appalachian State or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was like, Coach, I want to go to Dodge City because I knew they'll take a Tampa boy. Drew just came from, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
They're looking for the next one.
right. So he was like, he told me that conference that junior college was in was the best one, the Jayhawk conference.
Yeah.
So we actually called Dodge City coach, told him my situation. Coach was like, we found 4 highlight tapes left. We found 4 game films from when I played at Tech.
Okay.
Spanky took them all.
Yeah.
Big Spank took all the
Yeah.
took all the game film.
That's cool.
Spank
Jermaine
had all,
Blakely.
He had all the game film from every sport, man. Football and back. He took all the tapes. So anyway, we found like 4 tapes. And we made like a little highlight tape. And I'm gonna see that highlight tape.
Oh yeah, you gotta
I
send it to me,
I'm
man.
gonna
So I
send
can
it to
put
you.
like brag on it. Yeah.
Made like a little 5-minute video. So we sent the tape to every school in that junior that Jayhawk conference. Garden City, Dodge City, Coffeyville, all we sent it. I got a call back from every school who offered me a scholarship. I wanted to go to Dodge City.
Yeah.
Dodge City coach said, I saw the tape, I like it, but can I get some film of him doing drills now? I'm looking at the dude like, what? Doing drills now? I'm like, dude, I just came off the basketball court from playing basketball. I'm in shape. What you want to see me do now? Everything, I'm seasoned. You know what I mean? So he didn't want to give me a scholarship until he saw me doing some drills now. I said, man, forget that, coach. I said, man, who the first team they played next year? They said Garden City.
So you went to Garden?
I said, I'm going to Garden City. I said, I'm gonna show this coach
Yeah.
that he messed up.
Yeah.
So Garden City offered me a scholarship. Didn't even know nothing about them. Did my research on them when I decided to go there. Found out Corey Dillon went there.
Okay.
Running back, Cincinnati Bengals, Harlem, great.
At one time, he had the rushing record. Yeah.
That too. And then prior to that, right when I was coming in, they had just a guy named Corey Jenkins who played baseball.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had left baseball to come back to school, and he was at Garden City. He was transferring to South Carolina.
Wow.
So he was going out, and I'm coming in with the same situation what they just dealt with. Well, a former baseball player decided to come back to college. Now he's going, now he's transferring.
Yeah.
So it worked perfect for me. It was like, okay, it's a story in the book. So I decided to go there. First game, played Dodge City. First thing I do, open the kickoff.
Take it to the house. You did trick them. Take it to the house.
That's it.
Take it to the house.
Yeah, finished that game with and we had another running back at the time who had just transferred from TCU, named Tyson Thompson. He was supposed to be the next LaDainian Thompson, won the state 100-yard dash in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's flying.
Yeah, that's flying.
Me and him shared the backfield there. But yeah, Dodge City first game, ate him up. They gave him 140 on like 11 carries.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Big
Whatever
time.
it was. Yeah. And rest was history from there. So at that time, speed through that, go through junior college. Still keeping in contact with Kenny and Daryl. And I think Daryl told me, he's like, man, what you gonna do, man? You gonna transfer? Where you gonna transfer to? My goal was when I went back to school, I was like, man, look, I'm gonna do 2 years of junior college. I'm gonna try to get drafted out of junior college, do the supplemental draft, all that kind of stuff. I was like, man, I'm not even going to university. I'm just gonna do 2 years of junior college.
Get in and get out.
And get in and get out. Talked to Daryl. Daryl was like, man, you gonna transfer? I'm like, man, I don't know. You know, I'm getting recruited by everybody. Michigan State, Michigan. Coach Saban was leaving Michigan State, going to LSU.
Okay.
You know, Texas. They had Cedric Benson. I ain't going there. He's a Heisman candidate. Oklahoma. He had a little short boy, Griffin. I forgot the year. I was like, man, you know, that was one of my options. Oklahoma State. I could have went anywhere. And Daryl was like, man, you know, Coach McGee. I thought Coach McGee was at USF because he left TC our senior year.
Yeah, went to USF.
And went to USF to start that program with Coach Levis.
Yep.
And so I thought he was there. And at that time, I'm like, man, I ain't going to USF. I just felt like I was a better talent to go somewhere else instead of going to USF. Not knocking them, you know. I just wanted to do a bit more big time, right? Because they were like 1AA, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
They wanted, you know,
They were just starting up.
They were just when they started out good, they hit the blocks.
Yeah.
They hit the ground running with Coach Levis, man.
Yeah.
He had that. You know, that program was jumping. I remember when they played Dante Culpepper, they almost beat him.
Yeah, they did.
You know, so yeah.
UCLA,
But I just wanted to go to a bigger school. They wanted a big name at the time. So that was more, I wanted to go to a big time school. And Daryl said, man, you know Coach McGee at West Virginia. I said, for real? He was like, yeah, God working mysterious ways, man. I was sitting in the coach's office and they had a shelf with all the program books from all the universities. West Virginia was down there. I grabbed the book. And I just opened the book, opened the little program, right to the families of the coaches and Coach McGee.
Wow, the man that taught you how to run in between the tackles.
Oh, tears to my eye. I swear to God, man, I'm not telling you this story. I'm not making it up. I randomly opened the book, and it was straight to the page with the families. It had Coach McGee, his wife Rose, and his two kids, the kids, you know, on the page. And I went to the front of the book. Saw the phone number to the football program. I called it. I called the number. I said, Master Beyond, can you transfer me to Coach McGee office? She said, yes, give me 1 second. She transferred me. He just happened to be in the office. He was like, Coach McGee. I said, Coach McGee, how you doing, man?
One call.
One call, dude. This is all at that time. And he was like, dude, he's like, who is this? I said, Coach McGee, man, you won't believe who this is. I said, man, you told me I was the best athlete you ever coached in your life from Tampa. He's like, hold on, let me catch the voice. I said, Coach, you say I'm the best athlete now. How many people you told that to? And he started laughing, man. He chuckled like that for a second. He was like, saying, KJ, is it? I said, yeah, man. He's like, hey, man. So, you know, he was like, hey, man, how you doing? Blah, 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 you know, talking. And it made me emotional, man, because he's like, man, how you doing? You still playing baseball? I said, Coach. I said, man, I left baseball 2 years. I said, man, I'm in a junior college playing football, man.
Yeah.
He said, where you at? I said, I'm in Garden City. He's like, you for real? I said, yeah, Coach, I'm in Garden City. I said, man, I need to play the transfer. I'm calling you to see if you want me to come to West Virginia. He's like, KJ, you lying. I said, Coach, I'm not. He said, hold on. I guess he would look on his computer, and I'd never forget his word. We can cuss on him?
Yeah.
He said, man, KJ, are you shitting me? He's like, boy, I didn't know you was back in school. I said, yeah, Coach. He said, KJ, you want to come here? I said, Coach, you tell me right now you want me at West Virginia, I'm coming to West Virginia.
Wow.
He said, KJ, you just made my day. He said, man, you're not playing with me. I said, Coach, you want me at West Virginia? He said, hell yeah.
Tampa, take care of Tampa.
And he said,
I
said, Coach, I'm coming to. I said, I cancel all my other visits right now. He said, KJ, hold on, don't hang up. He went to the head coach office. He said, you still there? I said, yeah. He said, don't say nothing. He said, Coach, remember that running back I had at Tampa Catholic that I told you that you asked about? And I told you he went to play baseball? Coach Rod said, the Harris kid. He said, yes. He said, yeah, I remember him. He said, man, he's at Garden City playing football. He wants to transfer to West Virginia. And his exact words are the same way to Coach McGee. Are you shitting me? I said, yeah, Coach. I said, man, he said, are you for real? I said, Coach, y'all want me at West Virginia? I'm coming to West Virginia. He said, you damn right I want you here. I said, Coach, I only got one thing. He said, what's that? I said, can I have number one? He said, you can have any damn number you want.
Wow. So, yeah, look, you wanted your jersey.
Yeah, that was it, man.
Man, that's crazy.
And I only wanted number one because I had did my research, and the guy who was wearing number one was a senior. He was leaving. So I knew that number was available.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? I said, yeah. So I asked him, and he told me I can have it.
You want to step on no toe. You just wanted what you wanted.
That's it. That's
Man,
it,
so now,
Yep.
the West Virginia, now you signed a scholarship at West Virginia. How did you feel to be the old man on campus? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, how was that for you? Because
Yeah,
you was much more
I
mature.
was 23 years old.
Yeah.
I was 23 years old. But I was, like I said, I was mature, and baseball did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, baseball matured me, like I said. I was able. So going to class and doing that was easy.
Yeah.
You playing minor league baseball, you ride on these bus rides, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours bus ride, and then sleeping in Motel 6s and Motel 8s, you know, with 4 to a room.
Wow.
You know, double bed, you sharing, you know, 4 to a room, you know, things like that, man. That was easy. That was the easy part for me, you know, going back to school.
Wow.
Just because I've already been a pro.
You went from
know,
hard
I
to
went
getting
from
easy.
That part, you know, so.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part.
Yeah, and so the transition, it was kind of like I went back, you know. So it was like,
Yeah.
you know, it was easy for me to do that, man. And
You played with some wild boys now.
Oh, yeah, I
you played
definitely
with some
did.
wild boys. You
Definitely
played
did.
with Pac-Man Jones. God rest his soul, Chris
Chris Henry.
Chris Henry.
Yes, sir.
Pat White.
Pat White was a redshirt freshman.
He was a
my
red
senior
your
year. I came
senior
in,
year.
Yes, sir.
Man, so were you more like a mentor to those guys by the age difference in gap?
Yeah, it's in some spots I was, and they definitely used me every week on top recruits who they were recruiting. You know,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
recruit come in recruiting weekend, and you know they will always give me one of the recruits who you know that they felt they wanted just to share my story and just to share my experience with them. You know, so Pat White, and I got a funny story about Pat White.
I was
man.
about to ask you.
Man, Pat White, we always joke about it. Me and Pat can actually we can have our own story, man, about it all. But just going forward, man, from there, yeah, the guys always sitting, you know, ask me about certain things with baseball, just ask me my journey of what I've been through, and I always shared it with them. Everybody knew my relationship by the time, you know, it was a big story for me when I committed to West Virginia on my relationship with Coach McGee. So everybody knew I was like his guy.
Yeah.
To some point, to some points to that, you know, I had some controversy with a couple of my coaches because of my relationship with him.
Right.
You know, I ain't gonna say no names, but I'll tell you the position coach, and you probably know who it is if I say it. But yeah, my offensive line coach didn't really like me too much because of my relationship with Coach McGee.
Wow.
Which I didn't understand, but you know, it's water on the bridge. I didn't hold no grudges about it. You know, I guess they just felt like something was given to me and I ain't worked for it, you know, things like that. But that wasn't the case.
But you did.
Yeah, I did. You know, I don't know what the problem was between me and him, but we had a problem. We really did. He just didn't like me. He used to say stupid stuff to me like, oh, you know, call me a JUCO transfer and golf and all this kind of stuff. And it was more because in practice, I was the older guy. And even if I was a freshman coming in, I was still the biggest running back on the team in the conference and in college football. So yeah,
What size were you at that time?
225.
Wow.
So in practice, I wouldn't, when we run against the scout team, you know, when we go against our first team defense, I was trying to play like we was in the game because we had some hogs.
Yeah.
But when we ran scout team, that's made up of guys who are walk-ons.
Yeah.
You know, guys who ain't gonna see the field.
Right.
So I would use that time to work on certain stuff. I wouldn't try to run them over and kill them. And you know, I may get tripped up or something like. So when I didn't, he felt like I didn't run the ball hard against them. But I'm not making those guys. But I'm hurting them guys.
Because
So you know,
we know you can run the ball.
and that was the thing. So you know, and I kind of think that's what me and his problem ran into and started. But it was okay. I was cool.
What happened with you and Pat?
No, so my senior year, my junior year, because Pat was a recruit. So
Right.
Pat came on a visit, and his host left him.
Wow.
And I had another recruit with me at the time. We was out, you know, out in the city. And I saw Pat standing by himself, and we was getting ready to leave. And I'm like, hey man, where you recruit? He's like, man, he started arguing with some girl and he left. And so I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so you by yourself? He's like, yeah. I'm like, man, come on, you come with me. So I took him and the guy I had, and I took him back to my house, and I had a nice house. I had my house that I had in college, man. Let me tell y'all something.
Man, college.
Did you make it the party house, man? You supposed to be mentored.
It was a party house, but it wasn't a party house like that. Like in college, you can go to certain places and they party every day. My house is so nice, I wasn't partying every day because I didn't want you messing it up.
Yeah, okay.
But just to give you guys a look at how I lived in college.
Yeah.
My house in college easily could have been the house that you passing by on Bayshore Drive.
Man.
Wow.
6,500 square feet.
6,500 square.
Just me and my roommate from Naples, Patrick Lee Big, defensive player of the year coming out of the state of Florida.
Wow, that's crazy.
Won the state, beat Chamberlain in the state.
Yeah.
German, only child. In Naples, they own Audi, Volkswagen, Chrysler, Mercedes. So that's all I'm gonna say. So you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Y'all was around good
NIL before NIL.
Yeah. That's understandable.
NIL before NIL. But I was a little different too because remember I'm a former athlete, so I had an agent.
Right.
You know, and I had scholarship money from baseball.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really a true college student on college rules because baseball was paying for my school.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I was a professional athlete who had an agent at the time, and that was Scott Boras.
Okay.
The top baseball agent in baseball.
Okay.
So you know, so it was rules for me was a little different compared to everybody
Right.
else. You know what I'm saying? But still, you know, and but yeah, man. So Pat, I took Pat with me, kept him with me the rest of the night. You know, brought him back to the house, and he saw my house, and like, man, you know, so he was excited, but he had already made up in his mind he wasn't coming to West Virginia because his recruit left his chaperone left him.
Right.
Pat was also another guy getting drafted out of high school in baseball.
Wow.
So me talking to him, sharing my story and how my situation was, it helped make his decision a little easier because I was already letting him know what he was going to go through. And I told him, I said, hey man, they draft you and they give you 6 figures, man, take the money.
Right.
You can come back to school and play later. Take
Man,
the
that
money.
makes sense.
You know what I'm
That makes
saying?
sense.
And he got drafted, man. He ended up getting drafted. But, you know, and he ended up coming to West Virginia. From what I heard, from what me and Pat talked about, he wanted to go somewhere else, and they didn't want him to play quarterback.
Wow.
And Pat wanted to play quarterback.
They want to play receiver or something?
They wanted to play like safety or something, anything but quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, so we was the one school who was going to let him play quarterback.
And a lot of, but back at that time, even at that time, still are modern times, blacks had a hard time playing quarterback.
Let me tell you something, and I say this with the most confident ever. Pat White, you got certain people who change the game,
Right.
like Michael Vick,
Yeah.
the ones before him, you know, things like that. Pat White, I don't care what nobody say. You put Pat White numbers up against anybody, Vicks, all them. I always tell people that if Pat White would have been at Florida that time when Tebow was there, all the time, Florida would have won 4 national championships.
I believe it.
I definitely
Easy.
I believe
I
it.
say that easily.
Everybody over there at the team got drafted
Pat
too.
White, if Pat White would have been at a bigger program than West Virginia,
Right.
if he would have went to one of them top schools in the SEC, he wanted to go to LSU, I think. If Pat White would have been the University of Florida with that squad that they had, they would have won 4 national championships. You hear
He
me?
was that good.
Wow.
No disrespect on Tim Tebow or nothing. He ain't no Pat White.
Not even close.
He
Not
ain't
even
not even close to me. He ain't no Pat White.
Wow. Boy, that's
You see what Pat White did
words you said.
at West Virginia?
Yeah. Witness that.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what.
I had an argument with Garcia, who at Berkeley Prep.
Yeah.
Because
Ronaldo.
We was at the Jaguars.
Ex-Jag.
You know, he always had the Gator stuff on that.
Yeah.
Telling you, he was talking about like, man, y'all ain't nothing. He was like, man, T-Boy ain't nothing on Pat White. And he was like, what? So it took Ronaldo to look at the number. He was like, man, you might be right.
Oh, I want to step back on
you
something.
know, so,
Now, I'm gonna share with you a moment I had. So one night, I'm sitting in front of the TV, and East Carolina and West Virginia is playing. So I keep saying, KJ Harris, 20-yard carry. KJ Harris, 25-yard carry. I'm talking about you hitting them every time you touch the ball. But I didn't know it was you. I was like, man, I swear that looked like KJ, but his ass too old to be playing college football. I know that ain't the KJ I played against. So then I look, you took your helmet off. I said, man, that is KJ, man.
Yeah, man.
Dog, let me tell you something. That was a moment where I was like, man, dog, somebody I actually like grew up with,
way before
man,
football.
on TV. And dog, not only were you killing it, you broke the Big East record that night with 337 yards rushing. How many touchdowns?
4.
4 touchdowns. And I was like, I know it ain't no fluke, but can he do it again? Then the next week you went over 100 bun.
Wait a minute. He did 300 plus yards on only 25 carries.
On only 25 carries.
Didn't play the fourth quarter.
And didn't play the fourth quarter.
And didn't start the game.
And didn't start the game.
So think about that.
Yeah.
Over 300 yards and only 25 carries and didn't play a quarter.
Now tell us this. You wanted to sign with Miami coming out of high school. When you got the opportunity to play them, tell the world what you did to them.
Man, look here. And that so my that game you talking about right there, my 337, that was my senior year.
Yeah.
That's when he realized I was back in school. My junior year, my first year at West Virginia,
Right.
we played Miami on a Thursday night. And that's one thing I liked about West Virginia.
Prime time.
We always played. We played a couple games a year, man. That was during the week. Well, we the only thing on TV. So we always, that was one thing they did. We always had a schedule where we played two games during the week, man, where it was nobody else on TV but us. And a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people didn't know I went back to college.
Right.
They thought I was still playing baseball. So Miami, I never forget that game we played Miami in Miami. And man, this is I think it was the last year they played in the Orange Bowl. I mean, their home, their what you call it, their
At
field.
this time, Miami was the U. This when they
Yo,
were.
this
when they was strong.
They just came off a national championship.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
or just
they was strong.
Where they had lost to Ohio State. So yeah, so that night, man, I never forget, man. That night we played that day we played Miami in Miami. I couldn't even sleep that night, man. I think I had like 50 tickets from people coming down. I had everybody. My Uncle Kevin came down. You know, Kevin Cleveland. He came down, man. Everybody came down, man. I had everybody. My mom, my sister, everybody. And that was a game, man. I just, it was one of them games where I'm like, man, everything I wanted it to carry the ball. I didn't want to come off the field, to be honest with you. I shared the field back then. I was, we had another guy running back, Quincy Wilson.
Okay.
Quincy was a senior. So me and him split time. But man, I remember that game, man. I knew I was gonna tear their ass up. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I knew it. And that's when they had that year in the draft. I think that's the year they set the record.
Yeah.
For most people in the first
In
round.
the first, like what, 8, 9?
Man, because they had Winslow.
Kellen Winslow.
You had the whole defense, man. That's when they had Vilma.
Wolford.
Yeah, Vince
They
Wilson.
had Entrail Roll.
That was
They
that
had
team that beat
Mayweather. They had
Merriweather, yeah.
They had Merriweather. They had Frank Gore running back. Brock Berlin. Brock Berlin was their quarterback.
Was that the team that beat lost to Ohio State that Claret them beat?
No, that was the year before.
That was the year before. Okay.
They
Okay.
had just lost. Yeah.
Okay.
That was on because they had Willis McGahee. Remember, he hurt his knee. Yeah, they had a squad there, bro.
strong.
DJ Williams was in there.
DJ.
They had DJ and Vilma and linebacker, but they front four. They ain't have to blitz
Yeah.
because they
The
front
impression.
four. They had Drew, Big Drew,
Big Drew.
all them boys, man.
Ended
So
up signing with the Niners.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So like that team, man. But once again, I'm a Florida boy. You know, Florida, we prideful for what we do, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I was gonna tear their ass up. I just knew it wasn't nothing they can do because I was just excited to play that game, man. And yeah, man, ended up having over 300 all-purpose yards, kickoff returns, rushing, receiving. I don't know if it's still the record to that day, but that game I ended up having the longest pass reception on the Miami defense with 87 yards.
Wow.
The backfield.
And Miami wasn't giving up no yards at that
Oh
time.
man, they wasn't.
They was
wasn't.
holding all their backs and going to get
Quincy,
them up under 100 yards.
Man,
Up
Quincy,
under 100
Quincy was killing them in that game, man. Quincy,
Talking about hips?
No, Quincy Williams.
Quincy Williams. Okay.
Quincy Wilson. Our running back. The other running back for me. This Otis Wilson son played on.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, Quincy had it. And Quincy, him and Jared Payton, they were good friends. They grew up together because both of the dad played for the Bears. So
Yeah.
Frank Gore ended up getting hurt that game, and Jared Payton had to come in. But Quincy, man, so Quincy was excited to play that game just as well. But Quincy had man, look, that's another guy who, y'all believe it or not, man, like I said, y'all say what I say, but I was the biggest fan of everybody else. So, like, to watch my boy Quincy that game, he had arguably, to this day, the best highlight run you will see in college football.
Against Miami or
Against Miami. You go back and look YouTube and look it up. Quincy Wilson, screen pass. This is the win. Like I said, this is the touchdown to put us up to go win the game, man.
Right.
And it was a screenplay, and it was, I think, it was 11 guys on defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 13 of them missed them on that
Wow.
play.
So you think somebody off the sideline tried to trip him?
Some guy got up and tried to tackle him again and still couldn't miss him, man.
man.
Then he ran over Merriweather and jumped over him and ran into the end zone and touchdown. Yeah, man. We're going to YouTube and when we're done. You're going to YouTube with Quincy.
I am.
Man, it's the greatest. Oh, man, you got to see
And you
it.
saw it live.
Right there. And yeah, and like I said, came down to a 4th and 11. Winslow got 11 yards and got the first down, and they ended up kicking a field goal, man, to win the game with no time on the clock.
Man, that's crazy. So you done had these 2 breakout games.
Right.
So now you got a buzz.
So that was the breakout game, like I said, my junior year. Now, going back to you, that game for 337. Prior to the beginning of that game, I'm mad at my offensive line coach. Now remember, I'm mad
That's
at him
what we
now,
wanna hear.
because he called me soft. So, and I used to always say, man, forget what you say, GTPM. On Saturday, you got to play me. I ain't worried about nothing else.
Yeah.
And all my guys from West Virginia, see my teammate, they know exactly what I'm talking about. I used to always say GTPM. Got to play me. That was my thing. So,
Okay.
but prior to that, offensive line coach called me soft. So I'm like, all right, just wait till this game. Let me see you soft. Getting my ankles taped before the game in the training room. One of my other teammates, wide receiver Marquel Henderson, had just had a baby girl. He didn't want to play. He wanted to go. He had baby girl was born while he was up. So I'm like, man, why you need to say look right? So I'm like, man, what's wrong with you? And he's like, man, I want to go see me. I just had my baby, and he wanted to go home. I'm like, well, man, look, you just had your baby girl, man. Go out there and do something good for it. And I'm like, man, celebrate it. I had my twin boys, and I was in junior college.
Yeah.
And they was born, and we had to play Air Force. And I was just like, oh, I'm about to tear their ass up.
Celebration, the celebration of the ending of this world.
8 carries, 160, 2 touchdowns. Game, that was it. They ain't even play the second half. Air Force. So yeah, I did that on the day that my boys was born. So I told him, I say, hey, man, go out and do something special for your baby girl, then, man, since your girl was born.
You're right.
He's like, yeah, you're right. I said, man, you know what? I'm gonna do something. I said, man, I might break a record today. And I'm just joking. I'm just trying to get him right for the game.
Yeah.
And man, rest was history, man. At halftime, we was coming in. They was announcing as we was walking in at halftime that I had just broke the record for most yards in a quarter and most yards in a half. Right? And
That's in half.
yes. So I'm looking. I'm like, oh shoot! I'm hearing this while walking in. I'm looking for him. I'm like, wait here, because I told him I was gonna break a record. And then when I saw him, he was on his knees going like this. I said, man, I told you. I said, man, I ain't done yet, dude. I said, I ain't done yet, man. I said, I ain't done yet, man. And
So leading to that game, just look at that. Look what you used as motivation. You use somebody else dislike for you. You use somebody else like the doubts that they had in you, right?
absolutely.
And a lot of these kids got to understand, man, you just can't fall victim to somebody else's words.
Right.
And what you did was was resilient. And a lot of kids need to make that a part of their game to focus on being resilient.
Absolutely. I mean, even back in high school, man, I had a teacher or assistant principal, tell me, I was gonna, end up in jail or be on the streets, stuff like. And as somebody in the learning institute, being a teacher, I don't even know how you fix your mouth to say that to a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell me, if you continue to do this thing, the path for it. But she actually told me, you ain't gonna be nothing. You gonna be, to hear those words come from somebody who's supposed to be encouraging me, that's somebody. You always want to prove your dollars wrong. I knew the type of person I was. Yes, boys gonna be boys. They always say that. I joked around and and did things but I went to school every day.
Right.
Yeah.
We did not want to miss school when we was in school.
No, because that's what the fun was. That's what the girls was. That's what lunch was.
I went to school.
That's how you beat everybody.
That's how you beat everybody.
Yeah, so on day when if I missed the bus, I was still trying to get to school. It wasn't nobody trying to especially at Tech, man. It was fun. High school was fun back then, man. It's different, man. Man, you know it. So, to have a teacher tell me that, man, to try to discourage me like that, man, I just don't understand why would you could do that. But it's definitely somebody who I want to prove wrong, And I end up seeing, even when I got drafted, when I did get drafted, and I came back, I saw we come back up to the school the next year, and she was trying to act like she was my best friend.
But that's
actually, you know what I mean.
All right.
So
that's crazy. That's crazy, man. So now you done showed out in college. I'm talking about you put on the show. Now it's time for the draft. You didn't get drafted, but you signed as
that hurt my feelings, man. I cried. And let me tell you this experience. Because probably up to the draft, I got invited to the combine. Did some great numbers at the combine.
What were your numbers?
40, I ran 4.51, 4.56, but the pro day I ran 4.39, 4.42.
Okay.
Cone and shuttle drills, I had times that was competing with top 10 receivers.
Wow.
In short time, and one of them, they said it was with Riche. So cone drill, that standing broad jump, had the furthest standing broad jump for all running backs. Was I think like 11.3, I did. Wow. Vertical jump, I went 41 in the vertical. And so, I thought I had good enough numbers to get drafted. You know,
Yeah, even top 3 rounds.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and I thought I was from all the talk I was getting, you know, and all the calls I was getting during the draft. You know, it was a lot of people in the 3rd round kept calling me the Broncos, the Giants, you know, and stuff like that. They kept telling me they was gonna take me in the 3rd round, and you know, when they come up, they were gonna take it back. So I'll never forget, man. 26 running backs winning that draft. 26 running backs, and I just remember I wasn't one of them. And let me tell you, that was another part of my life, man, where I could have hung my head, you know, and got depressed. But it went from sad and anger to I'm gonna try to prove everybody wrong.
Right.
You know, and then it's hard when you're growing up and you are the superstar for every level you play on, and everybody, like I said, everybody, you know, praise you and things like that, and you see all that. And then to get to the pros and realize that, man, it's a business.
Yeah.
Business.
Business, man. It ain't that stuff prior to kind of goes out the window.
It means nothing.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of decisions made from people who. Here's another thing. Here's another thing nobody didn't realize. Nobody knew either until I found out once I got there.
Right.
And I didn't make a business decision being a free agent. I made a decision out of off the football field.
Right.
So at the time, I didn't get drafted. So now I got an opportunity to sign a free agent with any team. And I could have signed 20, 25 plus different teams.
They were all interested.
All interested. So my agent helped me decide, came down to 2 teams. He was like, man, look, we need to narrow down to 2. So he said, I like your chances in Miami. They did draft Ronnie Brown, but it's 2-back league.
Yeah.
The guys who they had there, you know, him being my agent, looking at contracts, they're not going to be able to afford to pay this guy. You know, you got a better opportunity. Travis Minor was there. Smaller guy. Me mentally thinking, you know, I beat out Travis Minor. Sammy Morris, I beat him out contract-wise, all that kind of stuff. And then Green Bay. Armon Green kept getting hurt every year. He was like hurt the last 2 years in a row, never finished the season, never played a half the season. And cold weather, big running back.
Yeah.
November. They want big running backs in Green Bay.
Yeah.
They definitely do.
Green Bay flew me in twice. When I went to Green Bay, if you ain't never been to Green Bay, Wisconsin, it's terrible. City, I'm not gonna say it's terrible, but being from Florida kid from what you used to, and even
Yeah.
going to West Virginia, Green Bay, you drive down the street like this, man, you pull up to the stadium. It just pops out of nowhere. Nothing around, nothing to do. Man, I'm thinking about, man, I don't want to be here. What I'm gonna do, you know, when I'm not playing football?
Yeah.
Right.
Go to Miami.
Oof. Down the street.
That's nightlife.
Not only that, that's where everybody train at in all season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody hangs out. You go to Miami right now, the whole half the NFL down there right now.
Training.
Training, just period.
Yeah.
Simple to say, man, I'm going to Miami.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Simple. I made a decision non-football to go to Miami. Kind of one of the worst things I could have done, but at the same time, still a growth thing because
Right.
I learned.
Yeah, you learn.
So I decided to go to Miami, right? Now you know, we drafted Ronnie Brown, and I forgot who it was that told me. And they said, KJ, the name of the game is survival. They may not think you're good enough to start, but you better damn sure make sure you're good enough that you too good to be cut.
Yeah.
And that's when my mentality went to that.
Right.
To them, I'm not good enough to start, but I'm gonna make sure damn sure I'm too good to get cut.
Boy, that's
And so-
how you feed your family.
That's it, and that's it, man. And so, I decided to go to Miami. In Miami, OTAs, spring, you know, mini camp, doing good, killing it. Leave the summer, OTAs coming in with opportunity to come in and be the number 2 back behind Ronnie.
Right.
My mind, that's mine. I'm getting that. Wake up one morning, phone, text, all that. What the heck? Ricky Williams decided to come back out of retirement.
Wow.
Wow.
Boy, my heart, when I tell you, man, my heart dropped out of my chest, man, so hard.
And I would have been upset because he just took a picture in the wedding dress with Mike Nichols.
But
this,
you know,
I would've been mad about that,
he
man.
was already in Miami though. He did that with Mike Nichols when they drafted him.
I'm saying, but that's who come
yeah.
to tell you that. I mean, come on,
But
man.
remember, he was in Miami the year before. Ricky.
No, I'm
had
playing,
like,
Ricky. I'm playing.
Yeah.
I'm playing, Ricky. I'm
Ricky
playing.
had just won, like, I think he might have been like one of the rushing titles, second, whatever it was.
And then
but then
retired.
remember, he retired because the marijuana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they wanted to
smoke.
suspend him. So instead of him taking the suspension, he retired.
Yeah.
So he decided to come back. So now mentally I'm saying, man, I got to go ahead and try to not beat him out, but I got to compete with Ronnie Brown
And Ricky Williams.
and Ricky Williams. Well,
That's big. I
be the
mean,
third back. You know, my mom, you know, I'm
Yeah.
still going to be too good to get cut.
yeah.
And preseason, we had a Hall of Fame game that year.
Yeah.
So we got an extra preseason game. Remember, we played 5 now.
Yeah.
We had a Hall of Fame game.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
played a Hall of Fame game. And I was excited to play that game because I knew I was going to play a lot that game because Ronnie Brown didn't sign yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So played that game. Had a hell of a game, man. Had a hell of a game. Opening kickoff. Go down there and make the opening fucking tackle on Hester.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's big.
You know what I'm saying? So have a great game. Come down to the last drive of the game. We start like on the side of 20. I get us all the way down inside the 10 on the final drive to win the game. And he could have came down to me again to check down to win the game with a touchdown, Brock Berlin. And he threw a touchdown interception in the end zone.
Man.
But I had a great game, man. First preseason game, balled out. And I never forget walking on the field, man. Sam Madison was like, boy, and like all the defense guys come like, boy, you did your thing, boy, you did your thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sam Madison, veteran. Sam said, KJ, boy, you did too good. I said, what you talking about? He said, man, you ain't playing no more. He's like, man, nuh-uh. He's like, boy, you ain't playing no more. Ronnie ain't signed yet. You done came out here and you did all this. Them guys ain't gonna let you get away. They're like, man, if you play another game and have another game like this and you don't make the team, somebody gonna snatch you up. He said, but you done. You ain't playing no more this preseason.
Wow.
So I'm like, man, you know me. Man, you crazy, man. They want to see what I can do. I just did this. They want to see
Yeah.
what I can do. It's the veteran guy. This Sam Madison.
Yeah.
Been there,
Yeah.
seen it.
Been that scene.
Sunday, they played the next day. Ronnie Brown signed his contract, right? Next week, we got a preseason game. I ain't touched the field.
Whoa.
So it turned into business.
And that's when I
Man.
started realizing. That's when I said, it's a business.
Yeah.
Third game, ain't touched the field.
So it's about numbers. People don't realize this game is about numbers. It's about not even who's the best.
Last
it's about
preseason
numbers.
game of the season, Nick Saban came and told me straight in my face, KJ, we're going to bring you back on the practice squad. We're not going to suit you up for this game. You can go home for the week and come back on Monday to start practice.
Wow. So you became, I'm not a journeyman, but you had to stay with the Rams.
Yeah, so I played that whole year on practice squad. Scott Linehan was my offensive coordinator my rookie year. Going into the offseason, he gets the head coaching job in St. Louis.
Okay.
Come back the second year, hell of a preseason, balling out again. Sam said, you ain't going to play, bro. Sat me out third preseason game, I ain't play again. I played the last game, but now I'm like, nah, man, I ain't going through this again. I made the team. They called, a coach called me around about 11 o'clock. It's set the cut day.
Yeah.
Last day, final roster.
Yeah.
So I get my running back coach called me, and I saw it was him calling. I said, man, I need to bring my playbook in. He's like, no, boy, you ain't going nowhere. You made a team. So I'm happy. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like, yes. So I'm celebrating. I call everybody, tell everybody I made a team. It's 11 o'clock. I get another phone call back like at 4 o'clock. For a roster, I guess somebody else got cut. Veteran guys, you know how they, so they decided to pick them up. They called me back to tell me that they was taking my spot to get to an offensive lineman that they signed.
So it's about numbers. It's about numbers.
But we're gonna bring you back again on the practice squad.
But you still had a job.
But I'm still, so I'm, you know, but I'm now depressed though, man. I'm really like, man. So now, and everybody had different ways to react. So now I'm just really depressed, man, because I'm like, man, I bust my ass. I'm out here working my butt off in this off season, man. I'm in shape. I know the offense. I'm breaking the huddle before he even say break because I hear it. I know it already. I understood the playbook. So soon as he say the first 2 or 3 words in the playbook, you know, when he called him play, I know what I've got already. I'm breaking the huddle. You know how you watch a huddle?
Yeah.
The receivers here, and then they start running off before we even break.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing because I know
You
the
know the
playbook.
play.
I got it. I got it. I got it in the back of my
Second
hand.
nature.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So you know, I feel like I done put the work in, but I ain't being rewarded for my work.
Wow.
So you know, so it gets to the point, man. I'm depressed, but you know what? Too good to cut. Still get these checks.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So I'm okay. So Scott Linehan, man, prior to that, my first year, he kept saying like, KJ, I'm fighting to get you in there, man. You know, you can help us out, do some things. Of course, I'm playing special teams and stuff like that. And it's like, man, I'm really trying to get you on the field because you can do some things for us. You know, so like I said, in my end of the year, he gets the head coach job in St. Louis.
Right.
So we got to ask you this, and we're down to the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it being a part of that Super Bowl team with the Giants. What was that game like? What was that experience like? We gotta end on that because y'all knocked off a Giant that year. Y'all ended something that was supposed to be perfect.
Yeah.
That was David versus Goliath.
Well, if people don't remember the Super Bowl, people don't remember the regular season. I just talk it over fast. We played in the last game of the regular
Last
season.
Sure
game.
enough did.
And they struggled to win that game.
We had that game won.
Yeah.
We had a safety named James Butler who decided to let Randy Moss, he bites on play action pass. Bro, you got Randy Moss to your side of the field. Why are you biting on play action pass? You know they got to score a touchdown to win.
And y'all already know when Randy do this.
It's a wrap.
Boy, when Randy do this,
yeah,
it's
so
over, boy.
Y'all
that
almost
happened
made
and
the
they
playoffs.
broke the touchdown record that game too.
Yeah,
so,
did.
so
With 54, was it 50 or 54?
whatever it was,
Something like that.
but anyways, Moss bombed us for that, won the game. So going into the playoffs and having to repeat to play them in the Super Bowl, that whole week, people don't remember that week. We know we're doing press conferences, and Justin Tuck said they ain't scoring 17 points on us.
I remember.
Tuck saying that.
And they showed Brady that, and Brady's like, 17?
That's crazy.
Yeah, we just broke the scoring record and all of that, and they ain't gonna score 17. Our defense said they weren't scoring 17 on us.
I wonder who betted that in Vegas. I know they hit.
Because get what? They had the game going up high because they
Them
scored so
boys,
many touchdowns.
I saw it, man. I'm there. Them boys was on fire that whole week of practice. That practice of preparation, I've never seen a preparation of practice that week the whole time I've been in the league.
Right.
And just going into that game, man, like I said, we didn't blitz. Our front four controlled the game. Straight man, Tug, OC, all them guys, man, they controlled the game. That was another thing. That was another big thing deep for us. But, man, just watch that game transparent and go through the whole thing and just watch how it developed, man. And that last drive and, of course, the helmet catch.
The helmet catch.
David Tyree. You know, I just remember when Eli threw that ball, it just seemed like time stopped and we're just floating. And, you know, and I'm like, oh, no, he threw a pick. And he's like, oh, no, yes. You know, so just seeing that and that prior to that drive, man, Strahan was walking up and down the field, was like, we going to win this game. Tomorrow's newspaper going to say the New York Giants are Super Bowl champ.
Yeah.
I got to believe it's going to say Super Bowl champ. We going to win this game. And rest is it, man.
It's crazy when you talk about them backs because you have a similar frame to Amari Bradshaw.
No, he's small, man.
No, I'm
just
Brandon
What I'm saying, like,
No,
me and Brandon Jacobs.
you had Jacobs.
Well, Brandon Jacobs 6'4".
He was
6'4", 270.
So,
Wow,
you
them
know,
all
that's what I'm
right-
saying.
them
So,
all
I was
running back
240 at that time. I was 240 now.
I remember you was 225.
Yeah,
So you
but I got a little, so I gained a little weight, you know. But I was 240. But yeah, man. But still, we had some backs, man. That running back meeting room, man, was something else, man. It was
Man,
special,
so
man.
we running down on time, man, and I just want to say in that, like, just hearing your story, man, like it's a lot of resilience, it's a lot of determination, it's a lot of just trusting the process.
Yeah.
And even if you didn't make it to the Hall of Fame, you had a career that you can
Sit back on, reflect
sit back
on,
on,
yeah,
reflect,
share.
and you can tell people your story.
Yeah.
And that's what Crunch Time Survivor is all about.
That's real.
And we bias based when it comes to the city, because Tampa, we got a lot going on here, baby.
Man.
Y'all better know it. It ain't on us, it's in us.
Yes, it is,
Trying to
man.
tell
It's in us.
It is.
Hey man, KJ man, we want to thank you, man. And just look at the camera. We all gonna get a stop playing.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Stop playing,
man.
baby. And that's another episode of Crunch Time Survival. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We got to get a picture.
All day.
Yep.
Man, I gotta ask you something too, man. Somebody say in the 7th grade, Rob say you and him was the only